Each symposium is slightly different from the previous symposium, moves the symposium concept on just a little bit, and this year we've had a very vibrant online community, and the website is growing, will continue to grow, will be populated with more and more aspects of multimedia. Thank you, Brad, very much for supporting that, and for Robbie, where's Robbie? And for Robbie for making those things work and continue to work. Thank you very much. Now, also behind the scenes, but very, very important, Rayho over there. I was just sitting between Rayho and Noli. To put on a symposium like this takes a tremendous amount of work. And Rayho and Noli have been incredible. Logistics, well, just not my strength at all. Could not do it. Rayho and Noli together have been completely wonderful, and I'd like to thank both of them logistically for everything that's brought us to this point. Thank you. Now, as you know from all the work you've been doing over the 4 months, Noli doesn't just do logistics. So each piece that has gone out to you has been co-authored with Noli. Noli's also just been in Shanghai, helping the students in a partner school of Winchester's in Shanghai also understand much more about poverty. And this week, of course, you've seen how wonderful she is, and your symposium could not have been the experience it is without Noli Malaba, so I'd like to thank Noli again. Chris, thank you very much for the concept of this symposium and for putting together an incredible program. When Chris suggested that poverty would be the topic of this year's symposium, like every symposium, I start off by thinking, well, I don't know anything about it really. And it's always wonderful to talk to Chris. Ever since I met him before ALA started, we've had a great intellectual discourse. And the ideas of poverty that we developed, I think, have made the symposium work. But this week has been truly wonderful. We can do only so much, theoretically. And to come this week, Tulani, for example, yesterday was moving and humbling. And even as I say the words, they're not sufficient. But thank you, Chris, thank you, Tulani, thank you for a wonderful week, which has helped us to understand what poverty is. We can do the ideas, we can do the writing, but we still don't understand until, even now, of course, we don't, but you help us on that road with a program that you've put together like this. Thank you very much. It's been a complete pleasure to be here. But the biggest thanks goes to the 21 of you who make the symposium work because of your energy, your individualism, your commitment. You've all got talent, and you're all different. And those two things are very precious. I'm sure you've felt this week that you've learned so much about the subject, but you've also learned a very large amount from each other. Not in a forced way, not in a sit together so you can learn from each other, but in a very natural, organic way, I think. And for me, every year, it's a complete pleasure dealing with a new group of students who are completely individual. Don't come with any preconceptions, any intellectual baggage, just raw intelligence, talent, and commitment. And I thank you for making the symposium work, and I thank you for putting up with all the time requests and directives, and I'm not going to do any more of those. We're out of that. So thank you very much, and I'd like to ask Tian to come up and deliver the symposium call.
Now that the symposium has officially come to an end, I am wearing a tie with bananas and monkeys on it. But I hope that really doesn't detract from anything that I'm saying, and I really just, it's a shame that the students can't be here either to hear this, because they have just been amazing as well. And the fact that we have come into their school, are given better food than them, which by the way is brilliant, thank you, and having, you know, displaced some roommates and made refugees out of them. I'm sorry to Eric for that. I'm sure my apology will be passed on. And this whole thing has just been so special, and the energy of all the students have just been so high. And I've said this to quite a few people, which is that I feel that I can go up to any member of ALA and strike up a conversation with them as though I've known them all my life, and as though they care what I've got to say, and I definitely care what they have to say. And it's a really remarkable place, and I think that deserves a round of applause before I launch into this. So without further ado, the final paper, the what's it called? Accord, that's the one. From all of the 21 students who I now consider my colleagues. Yes. Throughout the 4 months of our Alois journey, our perceptions of what poverty encapsulates have been repeatedly reforged. Even at this point, we would be lying if we said that we all agreed upon a single definition. Similarly, in terms of causes, types of poverty and their solutions, we have yet to reach a unanimous conclusion. We recognize two basic types of poverty: material poverty and poverty of the mind. Firstly, material poverty refers to a lack of basic necessities that are needed for human survival. These include needs such as food, shelter, clean water, basic clothes, and healthcare facilities. Secondly, poverty of the mind comprises resignation, low self-esteem, and a lack of family bonds. Though some of these points remain disputed, we all recognize that regardless of personal opinion, at the heart of poverty still lies these pressing issues of basic necessities and survival: food, water, shelter, sanitation, among others. As responsible global citizens, we cannot afford to waste time defining the issue. We have recognized the urgent need for solutions, hence this accord. Causes and understanding. Poverty differs from area to area and individual to individual. Therefore, there can be no universal definition to describe it. The best approach is to find its causes and its effects. The effects of poverty include the removal of the ability of individuals to control their own lives through a lack of opportunities, their weakening through disease and hunger, and the stripping of their dignity. Causes of poverty are diverse. We have identified key areas such as corrupt, inactive, inefficient, and conflict-prone government, power relationships between developed and developing nations, a poor mindset of the people catalyzed by a lack of encouragement and hope, discrimination such as gender and racial prejudice, and uncontrollable forces such as a global economic collapse and environmental disasters. Many of these causes are effects, and many effects are causes, because poverty is a self-fulfilling cycle that breeds more poverty and begets itself. As for international solutions, which are generally more general, we have identified three main areas, which are aid, trade, and organizations. First off, to deal with aid. Aid is only applicable in certain circumstances, such as disaster relief, or in the case where basic needs for survival are not met. All other assistance must keep the needs of the target community in mind by creating opportunities instead and ensuring that the people are able to become self-sustaining. Trade. More economically developed countries need to lower trade barriers for agricultural products in order to create a market for goods from developing nations. This can be achieved via pressure from WTO. Protectionist measures for fledgling small, medium enterprises should be adopted. Regional cooperation is to be encouraged. Encourage traders to become more considerate of the economic conditions of other nations and promote fair trading practices. Organizations. Establish a better framework with more transparent policies to avoid confusion and minimize the potential for abuse. Create watchdogs for internal organizations in order to keep a check on them and ensure greater effectiveness and transparency. Establish timelines for greater efficiency and ensure that the solutions are channeled from theory into practice. And now moving down to national solutions, which we agreed upon. Education is arguably the most cost-effective method to uplift people out of poverty. This has been the key foundation to empower individuals and the community to break out of the vicious cycle of poverty. A larger budget has to be allocated to education. Teachers must be sufficiently paid and subsequently motivated in order to find and provide a higher quality of education. Infrastructure investments in education ensures schools are well built and are close to communities. A larger budget would provide better resources for textbooks, improved curriculum, computers, etc., to ensure quality education. This goes back to the guest speaker of this morning who said that a poor education can very well be detrimental. Benefits should be given, e.g. subsidised food, after-school activities, as incentives for students to stay in school. Greater emphasis on non-academic curriculum has to be placed. Communities must focus on equality of genders, ethnicities, etc., to reduce discrimination and prejudice. Entrepreneurial leadership skills must be developed. Values such as resilience, self-dependence, self-worth, dignity must be stressed. Community workshops should be established to practice acquired skills. Of course, governance has to be improved as well in terms of reducing unnecessary bureaucracy and corruption. Set up an independent watchdog on corruption. We're fond of watchdogs. This group should place greater pressures on government to be transparent and accountable. Harsher penalties should be placed upon corrupt officials. A more comprehensive framework and civil code by which officials can be formally assessed should be implemented. Officials must be accountable to an independent jury. Greater protection for media outlets to expose corruption are needed, and we must ensure that public tenders open for all public projects. Additionally, independent election commissions to raise awareness about the importance and the impact of a vote should be made known. Recent internal ethnic / religious / tribal conflicts have resulted in deep political and social instability. Not only has this resulted in millions of deaths, such as the Rwandan genocide in East Africa of 1994, it has disrupted local economies, entrenching the masses in poverty, encouraged reconciliation and negotiation between different ethnicities. Politics and ethnicity / religion / etc. should be considered mutually exclusive. Encourage diversity within communities through integration programs. Flyers and advertisements should be created to encourage tolerance during discourse. And this, of course, brings us on to local solutions. And as has been mentioned before, education is where a great deal of our faith lies. Awareness within schools must be raised, along with a greater understanding and insight as to what other social groups within the community have to offer, and the manner and injustice by which they are oppressed. In this way, social exclusion and discrimination will be counteracted. Steps should be taken towards working with the locals, such that they develop the necessary entrepreneurial skills for their independent businesses to succeed within their community. It is important to remember that it is not a matter of direct instruction, but rather guidance, so that when the organisation providing the help leaves the vicinity, they are in full control of their enterprises and have a comprehensive understanding of how to run them. Mindset, poverty of the mind has featured a great deal to the symposium as a whole. The locals must be shown the manner in which they can contribute to their own standard of living, as well as others, and learn that together, if they are committed and determined, they can achieve a great deal. Measures such as radio broadcasts and flyers, as mentioned before, within a society can be implemented in order to spread awareness of business opportunities on a small / communal level. Investment. Related to informal education, young would-be entrepreneurs have to learn how to properly market their innovative ideas and how to present them with a keen business sense so that they are not exploited by larger companies. Consequently, they can begin to start attracting the necessary startup capital from investors for their businesses to get underway and develop. In conclusion, we believe that this accord details the measures on an international, national and local level, which can be employed such that poverty is tackled on a practical level. One aspect that we all unanimously agree on is that absolute poverty can be diminished to the point of eradication, and that it begins with the individual. From there, and with the self-belief and motivation to lead one's life in the manner that he himself chooses, he or she himself or herself chooses, he or she can affect a tangible, quantifiable change within the community he or she lives. And as more and more people come to realize their own potential through skills and relevant help offered by those who readily proffer them, poverty can be dealt with across the globe. Thank you very much.
3 key lessons for you. Number 1, do something with deep personal meaning. Number 2, get started and be bold. Number 3, stick to it. From James Mindy, I think we should practice this refrain. Give a man a fish, teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime, help him open a fishing net store, send his children and grandchildren to university. And from Dr. Nkosana Moyo, a message that I think, given the youthful nature of our audience, deserves repeating. Don't focus so much on the future that you neglect the present. Do what you are doing today to the best of your ability, always striving for excellence. It has been a privilege for all of us at African Leadership Academy to have you with us over the past 6 days. And it has been a privilege for us to be a member of this symposium group. We are certainly the youngest school, and welcoming you to our humble but growing in many, many ways community has been wonderful for all of us. And I wanted to say thank you to the participating schools for coming all this way to South Africa, to Africa. We know it is a long, long journey for many of you. We know that those of you from Pakistan spent quality time in Dubai airport, but still arrived smiling and ready for the first day. Each of your schools is very special in very unique ways, and for me, listening to the students present and hearing you talk so passionately about the issues in your home countries and the things that you've done as you've explored your own build process has been really very exciting. And I hope that the projects that you've talked about, that perhaps, taking from Tilani, you'll remember that there's nothing wrong with starting small. And let's continue them, and let's continue to focus on addressing the issues of poverty in our own communities, because they exist everywhere. And it is up to our generation, and I will include myself in your generation. It's up to our generation to see that we eradicate poverty in our lifetimes. So students, you are truly an inspiring group, and I want to thank you on behalf of our students at African Leadership Academy, because a number of your roommates have found me over the past 6 days to thank me for the opportunity to meet you. And that's really them thanking you for coming into their lives and exposing your cultures and helping bring the world to our little campus in South Africa. So thanks to all of them for doing that. To Tim Parkinson, it has been a deep privilege to work with you since 2007. It was a blast for Gavin, for Michael, and myself to have you here when we opened African Leadership Academy. And to watch the effort that you go through each year to put this symposium together, and the joy and passion with which you throw yourself into the topic, whatever it is, to challenge our collective schools and students to learn has just been fantastic. And I don't think we can appreciate that enough. So thank you so much, Tim. Reho, I need to call you up here because you have been behind the scenes this whole time, but you make the Academy go. Many of you know, Fred and I have been working to build this institution for many years, but Reho is our longest serving employee. And she is, in so many ways, what African Leadership Academy is about. She is our unsung hero, as we were joking. And we have this award at AOA, Unsung Hero of the Month. And the joke that Malade, who's a teacher in the mathematics department, shared is that truly, Reho could win Unsung Hero of the Month every single month. So.
On behalf of your colleagues and all the schools, I just want to give you some flowers. Last but not least.
Thanks, Mr. Peter. Last but not least, Nalizwe. Thank you for ensuring that we showed the best of African Leadership Academy, the best of Africa, the best of Zimbabwe to the world this week and over the past 4 months. It's been an outstanding symposium. And I truthfully, when we signed up for this a year ago, I was hugely excited about it. I was thrilled at the prospect of bringing these amazing schools, these amazing students to South Africa and to discuss one of the pressing issues of our time. I couldn't imagine a better colleague with whom to lead that effort than Liz O'Shaughnessy. And what she has brought in terms of passion and an ever-present calm as we have delivered this symposium has been truly remarkable. And it's a privilege to work with you. And for all of us, I just want to say thank you for the amazing work you've done. Thank you, everyone, for coming to African Leadership Academy. Now, the last person I need to thank is the gentleman behind me, Mr. Gavin Peter. He's the Director of Arts and Culture at ALA, and he was instrumental in planning the events this evening and convincing Osama, great performance, Osama, to perform for us. And I shared on Sunday that ALA is really a student-run campus with a lot of different student activities that sort of come and go with different levels of passion and vigor. We saw Cloud9. As far as I know, Cloud9, the singing group, has only been around for about 2 weeks, but they certainly enjoyed performing for us on Sunday. And as I understand it from Mr. Peter, there is some sort of farewell ceremony that has been planned as well.
No, it will be cancelled. It got rained out.
Oh, it's rained out.
Yeah. We're gonna
So I will turn it over to Gavin. I think we have some dessert, and I look forward to the official farewell from our student body. But I just wanted to say thank you again for joining us in South Africa.